Hi everyone, Julia here, recording this on November 4th, 2022. And I just wanted to talk a little bit about how your life can be very orchestrated if you go back and reflect and do a little inventory on how things transpired. You'll see that things work out to give you whatever your mind is on the most. And that's why it's real important, again, to make sure you clear out your subconscious and unconscious with shadow work or emotional healing work so you don't sabotage your conscious intentions. Because most people who aren't getting what they want, that is one of the reasons. Another reason is they're always worrying about what they don't want. And even if you don't get what you worry about, you still create chaos in your life just with that worry energy feedback loop. But yeah, there's been times for me when I didn't know what I was going to do when I moved to Prague in 2005. I was there for a while, and then I had a house I was renting in Austin, and that's how I was paying my way in Prague. And then the housing market crash hit. I was like the first one to lose my house. I didn't get any congratulations for that. And so I needed a job, and I was in Prague, and my check wasn't, definitely not up to par. And I start looking online for a job, and right away I see you must speak English. And I ended up with 2 job offers, one to continue teaching in the international high school, and the other was being a conference producer for the pharmaceutical industry, which I chose at that time. Now I wouldn't want either one of those jobs. But yeah, it's just, I really didn't know what I was going to do. I was really in a desperate state, but bam, there it was. And that's before I was a total atheist at that point. So, source, whatever you want to call it, doesn't really care what you believe. It's still going to manifest your reality for you. And then to get to where I am now, a friend invited me to move to Spain back in 2018. And it looked like, yeah, be set, stay there as long as I want. Got, they had extra land with a place on it, just tended to their animals, stay on the land. So I was like, sure. Took my nephew, who's in stroke recovery. He lives with me. We headed to Spain. And after 2020, things started going separate for my friend and I in a lot of ways. And I ended up staying in a tent for 2 months. I guess that was even just last year. Yep, 2021 in the summer. And in the interim of all that, a little before that, actually in the spring of 2021, I was on a YouTube Q&A with Charlie Freak. And so was my friend Penny. And we started talking in the chat a bit and found out she was only a 45-minute drive away from where I was in Spain, and she was here in Portugal. So she started coming every weekend. And by the time I moved into my tent, she was still coming every weekend. And then Cosmo, who came from a pack of stray dogs, they also lived near where we were staying in the tent. And they kept coming around, and there was a farmer nearby with farm animals, and the dogs were harassing and I guess killing some of the farm animals. So it got very chaotic there, and they're like, you have to go. So I went and I moved in with Penny in her little apartment in Lolé, Portugal. And yeah, we were there a few weeks, and it wasn't very accommodating for the dogs. There was no place to really walk them. I had to take them out like at 4 in the morning so they could get some wild running in through all the cobblestone streets there. And so yeah, a while before all this, I was working on manifesting a new place to live, and I may have even written it down. And I put in several things, and one of the main things I wanted was a place where the dogs could run free, not be confined, especially after that apartment living. And pretty much this place has everything I asked for. The only thing is that I wanted water, of course, but I wanted like a stream or a river, and I got a little pond, but that's okay. And we have a well that works and is not dry, so I'm not complaining. But yeah, that's a reason to be specific about your intentions. So yeah, and the way I got here is through Penny, because we were staying in her apartment, and she's a recent widower, and her former husband's family and her didn't really get along, and they told us we needed to move out of there. And so we were planning to go back to the U.S. and just drive around for a while, and then eventually maybe drive down to Mexico, get a van or a camper or something. And but it was still too crazy to do any travel because all the COVID stuff. And so she's like, oh, I know we can stay with my friend Dom. So she calls him up, and he's like, sure, because his wife and child just left him, and he could use some extra funds and some good-hearted people around. So he let us come stay here. And then shortly after that, Penny met her soulmate online, also through Charlie Freak's YouTube channel in a roundabout way, and married him and has moved off to Ireland. And so I was left here with Dom and my nephew and 17 acres and a great place for my dogs to roam and be free. And even though they can go on these walks without me, they insist that I go with them. They're divas for sure. And so it's amazing how things will work out. And if you really focus and you're really intent on having something, you'll manifest exactly what your intention is. And be specific so you get exactly what you want. But of course you need to do your shadow work so you don't sabotage your intentions. And this is the first you heard of that. There's a playlist, Emotional Healing, good place to start. And there's also the Loth workshops if you're ready to get started on doing emotional healing work. So yeah, I just wanted to share that. And there's definitely lots of other instances too. Those are just a couple, and those are pretty extreme because here I was in a foreign country in kind of what a lot of people would feel like were very dire situations, and and the whole time I was never, like when I was staying in my tent, I loved it. It was great. It had perfect weather the whole time. It was in the summer. It was a little hot at times, but not too bad. And I just never fretted that, anything negative was going to happen, anything bad was going to happen, and it didn't. And now I have all this space to live in, big house that I stay in, and more people coming around here to check this out. Murray's done so much, and we're getting that one building all fixed up to be a nice bunkhouse. And life is really cool, so put those intentions out there. So thanks for listening, and remember to always focus on what you want, help others if you can, and I'll talk to y'all next time. Ciao, ciao.